and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online Community Podcast. The date is February 8th, 2014, and you're watching episode 4. Big news, NDA has dropped for media approved by ZeniMax. Let me check the mute button here. Yeah, it's working fine now. And will drop soon for fan sites. We are excited about the projects we will show you soon. For Mostly Harmless, we've got a big mod project. There's wiki, maps that are really well done, and skill builder. Today's show, well, we'll be interviewing some of the oldest and some of the newest guilds out there and why you might want to join or ally with them for Elder Scrolls Online, along with advice that could save your guild from being just another one-hit wonder. While you're watching this show, we encourage you to write questions in chat, and don't forget we'll be doing a spot-on shoutouts at the end, and we'll have another contest to announce as well. Besides being one of your hosts for the show, I'm also a council member for the Daggerfall Covenant Guild, Mostly Harmless, and this is my co-host, Cami.
Hey guys, I'm Cami. I'm also a council member for Mostly Harmless, replacing Vixen this week. Vixen, I hope you enjoy your Saturday morning and you're hopefully still sleeping. Last month we had Vokandine, Allwolf Legion, and the Nor on the podcast. We held a friendly guild competition which gives people looking for a guild an idea of how active and motivated your current member are this far from launch. To participate, all you have to do is to give a shout out for your guild and an idea to either on the YouTube video of the podcast or in Twitch. We add them all up and announce the winner more at the end of the show. But for now, let's welcome our guests. So first we have Dragu, which is the leader of the oldest guild as recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records, the Syndicate. So welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
And finally, we have Leona from DNets. You may have heard of them for their recent work of making TISO census that Vixen talked about briefly on the last episode. So welcome to everyone, and we're really happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys here. We also had Ernesto from Gonga was going to be here, a European guild that's been around almost as long as the Syndicate. They were the main European force in Guild Wars 2 Titan Alliance with us. Unfortunately, he was not able to make it, but really good chat with him the other day. I'd go over his stuff, but I'll wait till another show when he can do it himself. He's a really funny guy. Before we start, I want to be clear about why we're doing the show. We're competitive. We want to research potential allies and the competition. But in doing so, we just found that the community for Elder Scrolls Online was just really interesting. There was a lot of very new guilds out there, and then there were some very old ones that had a lot of experience. And it was interesting talking to them and getting a feel for potential allies and enemies. And there just was enough interesting characters out there that we wanted to share them and talk to them live with other people. For people watching the show, there's a lot of guild ads up on the forums. Who should you join? Who should your guild ally with? What are the common issues faced by guilds awaiting the launch of Elder Scrolls Online? Maybe you're interested in a small guild that's still developing, where you can make a big difference, and maybe become guild leader one day. Or maybe you want to be part of a group that has most of the core needs covered, so that you can pick and choose what to help with. It's a very personal choice. So hopefully seeing some of these guilds here today will help you or your guild flourish. All right, let's have a little fun before we get to know our guests better. We have a few fun Tesso trivia questions we want you to answer. Most are multiple choice, but we encourage you to come up with a unique response if you'd like. And I think we got a special one here for Dragon, don't we, Cami?
Yeah, Dragon, this one's not a multiple choice, so you're going to have to make your own response. So after a late night at the tavern, you wake up in Cyrodiil in your knickers. What's the first thing you do?
Okay.
This is a typical day for you, isn't it?
Sure. So this morning when I woke up in the tavern just in my underwear, I don't have a good answer for you. My mornings start every day with about 200 emails. So in my case, I'm rolling over in the tavern and I'm grabbing my laptop and I'm doing my emails.
Is that because of your work or because of the guild? I gotta ask.
It's because of the guild. There's probably 400 a day that flow through.
Wow.
Pretty busy, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Every morning starts with that, and then getting a bunch of communications out to everybody, and every day wraps up with that.
Cool. Well, the good news is we're going to ask you another question after, because we had one for Ernesto, so I think we'll ask you that one too.
Excellent.
That's Let me ask. So we'll switch this up. Ernesto, sorry, this was for Ernesto, but now it's for Leona because it's such a good question. I got to ask this. This is from one of the people in the guild that have been writing questions for us. I forget who did this one. Maybe it was Tomcat or Rorik or Ziz there. But you are on the marketing team of Bethesda Softworks. You've been tasked with creating a special edition to help the bottom line. So, Leona, you're trying to make money, and this is, it's sort of like your Testo Census. You're trying to get some PR and advertising out there. Which edition of this game are you going to pitch? The Daedric edition for $89.99 includes the ability to play as a Daedra in any alliance, a Spider Daedra vanity pet, and the wristbands of suffrage, which increase the probability of developing carpal tunnel syndrome from extended keyboard play. Or 2, the Pretty Pony edition for $99.99, ride across Tamriel on your own rainbow pony with fully customizable mane and tail. Dazzle your friends with a +2 speed modifier and a trail of glitter. The Mara Fantasy edition for $169.99, your Rings of Mara come with a special in-game ceremony you can invite your virtual friends to. Includes Imperial Wedding Planner, honeymoon weekend on the Gold Coast, and 50 credits towards a Dunmer lawyer, should it not work out. Or the Moneybags edition for $259.99, the same content as the standard edition, plus the smug satisfaction of being part of an elite group to whom money is not really an issue.
Oh, this is hard. I guess I would go for the pony version, but people out there would hate me for it, so
maybe you should have the Testo Census version.
This would be great. So the character would be added to the census as soon as you log in. Would help us. Yeah. But I guess I would go for the Daedra version. I think people would love to have something like this. Yeah, I would take the Daedra version.
Okay. And I see in the Twitch here, I think Guy on Bench says after he wakes up after a long night, to probably do what he does in real life every day, start looking for his wallet. So we had another question here for the Game of Thrones. We might as well ask that for Dragon there. Oh yeah, Dragon.
Dragon, have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah.
All right. So here's your question. When you play the game of the Ruby Throne, you either win or you A, run screaming into the hills of Cyrodiil and with your tail between your legs, if you have one. B, frolic out through the plains singing songs of peace and good cheer to all of Tamriel. C, die, most likely getting your head chopped by an angry orcish axe. Or D, you don't play, there's giant spider to kill for Akatosh's sakes.
Well, as much fun as it would be to frolic, I'll go with I'll die getting my head lopped off by a
orcish axe.
True to Game of Thrones, you win or you die. Very good. So, Cami, let's get. You're gonna be chatting with Leona here since we switched things up, I guess.
All right, Leonas, tell us about your guild. Have you been around in other game? What other game you've been playing?
Yeah, our guild, DNets, is 2 years old now. We started in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then we moved on to the Secret World and to Guild Wars 2. And at the moment we are in the Secret World. We are a Dragon Guild over there, and we have a guild in Final Fantasy XIV, and we will have the guild in Teso and in Wildstar.
All right, cool. So you have multiple chapters.
Yes.
Awesome.
Exactly.
So your guild name translates to the net. Are you fishing for guilds?
When we set up the guild, we thought about a name that would give a bit of the multi-gaming character. So we had the idea not to have the guild only in one game, but also in several other games, because often you have a point when you don't like a game anymore, but you want to play with the people you know, and maybe they also want to switch the game, and so they all can go together to another game. And so we had this thought of networking. And on the other side, for Star Wars, we also had the idea about being an underground group and using the HoloNet of Star Wars, of the universe, to communicate with each other. So these are the two main reasons why we have chosen the name DNets.
Cool. So you came up with this really cool project, ESO Census. Can you talk to us about that a little bit more?
Yes. We had the idea because we saw something like this for Wildstar, and we thought it would be great to have it for Teso as well. And then we were not sure if it's worth the work and so, but at some point my husband just said, okay, I'm doing this now, and set everything up, and it was getting big already.
I'm actually pretty happy you did. We find it really useful. Like, for example, a guild can look at different faction, how many people rolled on what side, to decide which side they're going to go on, make sure that the population is fine. So a really cool job.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, I've got it pulled up here. I'll just highlight a bit. Are there any particular features on it that you want to highlight, or is there any information on it that's really surprised you so far?
Yeah, it is surprising that, first of all, it's so equal. We haven't thought that it would be that equal. We thought that the even hard pack would have more people in it. What I think is interesting is that at the Daggerfall Covenant, there are mainly Bretons. It was 50% once, but now there are many Imperials as well, so it is a little bit less than 50%. But I think this was really amazing to see. And we edited the guilds and already have about 75 guilds. Not exactly, but more or less. We would hope there will be more guilds, but that's nothing we can make. So you guys out there have to enter your guild and have to enter your character.
For sure. Now, there's a couple things that are interesting to me. That first of all, not a surprise, but on the bottom right platform, mostly Windows. 90% of the users that are hitting the website are certainly PC users. So again, not a big surprise there that there's going to be more of those that are going to go to your site necessarily, but interesting. Do you think that's indicative of who's going to be playing the game?
I don't know. I think that the console players are just not that much into the forums because they are mainly on their consoles, and maybe many of them don't know about it at all. This could be a reason, but it was obviously that the PC would dominate the whole thing. I think that MMOs on consoles are not that popular yet.
Okay. And another thing here is that, of course, there's not a surprise that it's an even split between EU and US for servers, given that you're a German guild, probably have more influence over there to get more people looking at it. But in terms of, I guess it was the transformations. Were you surprised at all to see that 70% of the players are not interested in becoming a vampire or a werewolf?
No, because I don't think they are not interested. They just don't know which to choose yet, because you don't know what the advantages and disadvantages are. Those percentage who already decided is just like, I always play werewolf in Skyrim, or I love vampires and therefore I play a vampire. But I guess most people don't know what to choose yet. I think this will change if people edit their characters they have entered as soon as we know more about these two transformations.
I guess a lot of people are scared of the weaknesses, especially in PvP. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Once the NDA drop.
Yeah. We'll be able to talk more about that then. We do have Ernesto here now. I'm going to stop the stream here in just a second and add him to the stream and then restart it for the remainder of the show. So we're just going to stop for 1 minute here. So we're live again. We've just been joined by Ernesto from Gonga. Happy to have him here, and just of course, it's always a bit of an issue with the time zones. Where we've got people from all over the world here, and certainly big time changes and stuff. But happy to have him here now. So we're going to throw him right into the fire, and Cammy's going to start asking him about his guild.
Hey Ernesto, how are you?
Hey Cammy, I'm very well, thank you very much.
It's nice to finally put a face on your voice. Like we've been talking a lot when we were in Titan Alliance together.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice to see the face behind the machine, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Gonga. Like, am I pronouncing right? Like, what does it mean?
Oh, it's good enough. It's good enough. It's a name from Norse mythology, where we it's sort of the Gonga gap, the gap between Jotunheim and Niflheim, the land of fire and the land of ice, where they collide, so to speak. A go-between between worlds.
That's interesting. So we know you've been playing Guild Wars 2, but what other games Gonga has been playing?
Pretty much all of them, I think. We started in EverQuest, we moved on to Dark Age of Camelot, we played World of Warcraft, Lineage 2, Star Wars Galaxies, only during the beta and the alpha. We played Rift, Warhammer, Guild Wars 2, Sword of the New World we played for quite some time. That was a really fun little free-to-play game. Dungeons & Dragons Online, we played most of them.
So EverQuest, that means you're a pretty old guild.
Yes, we've been going for almost exactly 15 years now. We're celebrating 15 years at the end of the year.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
You're
you
going to do something special for your 15-year-old?
We don't know. Every year we gather somewhere in Europe, and last year we were in Bordeaux in France, which was nice, and we visited all the chateaux and had some wine. This year, I don't know. We'll see.
Next time, invite us. I'd be
I'm going
interested.
to say, how about in Alaco?
Yeah.
So in Guild Wars 2, you rolled on a North American server. Are you
Yes.
going to do the same thing for TISO? And if you're rolling on Europe, why?
No, we will play on the European servers this time around. We sort of underestimated the amount of European players that will play on the American servers. So we figured that it would be a little bit more European player base on the American servers, so that we could keep the membership up for a longer time. We have a solid base of players of around. We enter a game with between 50 and 100 people, but as the game progresses, some people fall off, and then we have to replace them with new people that we recruit in that game. And we were not able to find as many people as we would have liked in Guild Wars, and we're getting old. We need to replace some of us with some young people, and to get enough young people, we need to do European this time around.
All right. So talking about recruitment, what is your policy for application? How many application you have, and how many you accept?
It has been a little bit different over the years. At the moment, we have a written application system. People are referred to our website where they make an applications. A quite long one. We like long applications. We like proper applications because we believe in the theory that what you get easily you do not cherish enough. And one of the ways to filter out all of these applicants, to figure out who would fit together with us and who would stay for the long haul, who would stay with me for another 15 years maybe, I don't know. We sort of have to go on a few different criteria, and one of them is that you have to be able to write a proper application.
Pretty much agree with you. I think our guild also think like that. All right, Rook, so...
Yeah. So just moving on here to make sure I'm not muted. Yeah, good. Moving on to Dragon here and the Syndicate. Now, you guys just issued a press release. You were celebrating your 18th anniversary as a guild. You're in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the oldest guild in the world. How did the Syndicate last so long?
Dumb luck. And there's actually some truth to that. I mean, because our early years, I was listening to both you guys commenting on recruitment policies and such. And those are great answers, and we have a very, very similar style answer. But in our early years, we didn't have such a policy. Our early years, it was early MMO days, right? We took anything with a pulse. If you had an email and you could respond, and you got in. Like we took members that probably didn't even exist because we fully merged with other guilds, and they would just hand us their roster, right? And
wow, yeah.
I didn't even know if some of those people existed. So how we survived the first couple of years was just dumb luck, and I think it was just because people didn't know what to expect back then because guilds were kind of new things. And then since then we've obviously gotten much smarter about it, much more detailed process. And so I think it's been the quality of the people that we end up getting, which has kind of helped keep it around for 18 years.
For sure. Now, so your members like playing games together, obviously, and you have a careful selection process. Do you do anything outside of gaming together?
Lots of stuff outside of gaming that ranges from the sort of the quick and dirty things like monthly dinners, annual LAN parties around the country, things like that. And then our big event each year is our SyndCon conference. This will be our 13th year of doing that. Pick a different city each year, a couple hundred members show up. Kind of similar, not quite as cool as going to Bordeaux in France and drinking a bunch of wine. But we'll pick a different city around the U.S. each year. We've done Vegas, Orlando, San Diego, all that kind of stuff. Usually meet up with a number of game developers will come, and we all kind of get together with a big raffle, lots of fun events, tour studios. So that's our big event. For much the same reason, putting faces to game names really has helped change the dynamic of playing these games.
That also sounds pretty fun.
It's 5 days of fun.
I thought you were going to say debauchery.
It's fun.
Yeah, I knew you answered that Knicker question pretty easily. So
that's right.
That if someone could, Kip's looking for the Twitch page here. If someone could give that to him. Cool. That now, not only do you have fun together with gaming and stuff, you did some charity work. Is that correct too?
We do. We sponsor American Cancer Society, and then we sponsored Youth Opportunity Unlimited was our other charity. They've since been replaced with the Boys and Girls Club, so that's kind of our new one there. But yeah, each year we do a charity raffle at the big event, raise a bunch of money for them, and then throughout the year we'll do little charity projects here and there. Like they may need, help voting up to create a new park. We'll contact a group of 1,200 people. We'll put a lot of votes on your page. So, things like that we'll do to help people get funded. Like, Oscar Mayer did a thing where if you got enough votes, they'll build you like a park in your city. So things like that we'll join into as well.
That's nice. That's a good use of the people and the and what they can do. That I did that recently, but it was for a friend who was in a beauty contest online. That not quite as noble. That
we've done a few of those less noble things too.
So if someone was interested in, and I'll say to the audience here that Dragon had his laptop set up so that we would be able to chat and see his face, and unfortunately hard drive crashed just a few days ago. So we already did the pre-interview, but it just didn't work out for today. But still glad to have you here, of course. In terms of joining the Syndicate, now something I remember when we talked beforehand, 1,200 members, 600 plus of these members have been there for more than 10 years. That's incredible to have that kind of longevity with a group of people. So if someone wants to join you, they just send you one of the 400 emails you get a day?
Sure, just send an email as long as you got a pulse. No. Generally at this point in our career, we only accept people that we know really well. So that comes from playing with us in game, getting to know us there. And then there is an application process after that. We found that even after we get to know you real well, we still weed out a few people that way. We get about 4,000 random applications each year, but we only accept the ones that we know really well. So generally the response you get back if you put in a random app is, hey, come get to know us. And those that put in the effort we become friends with, well, then they're the people that click with us. They're the people we're going to hang out with for years. And so hopefully 18 years from now, they're still around. So.
Awesome. A couple things in the Twitch channel here. There's, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but Aura Nara? Saying the Syndicate is a lot like an online family, but without the drama.
She doesn't get to say that. She's a member. Advertising.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I recruited her like 10, 15 years ago.
Nice. And someone else's comment has nothing to do with you at all. It's Happel saying that not really that surprised about the amount of Bretons in the Tesso census. There's always been a generic race for boring people, second only to the Imperials. That 18 years ago for Oranana, nice. That Kip Monty's asking, when was the Syndicate founded? What was the actual year?
It was founded in 1996. The Guinness World Record you mentioned earlier is longest continuously operating one, and they collect a whole bunch of evidence to make sure that you've got continual operation year in, year out, that you can prove through independent sources, all that good kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, there's someone saying that they've got an older guild, so good luck proving that in the Guinness Book of World Records. You can give it a shot. That it's a lot of information that needs to go into that. What was the first game you started in?
Process. Just updating it each year is a brutal process. We started way back in Meridian 59 was when the first real start playing together happened.
Yeah.
And then the Ultima Alpha was right about that same time.
Very cool. And what advice would you give to new guilds? There's a lot of new guilds starting up for Elder Scrolls Online. If they want to become the next Syndicate and try and last beyond your grave, what would they do?
Well, I think any of the guilds on today's show have the right mindset, and I think it's mirror any of these three, and that is to have a really robust recruiting process. It's not about numbers. It's not about getting 40 people to go PvP. It's about getting the right 40 people, and if you put that time in up front, it's a slow start, but it pays off in the end.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, for all of you guys now, you're all here. You're about to play Elder Scrolls Online. This is a game that has multi-guilding in it. So you can be a member of up to 5 guilds in the game. How are you going to, is that going to be an advantage to you or a detriment? What do you guys think? I'll start with Ernesto.
Yeah, the only thing for us that I could figure, I don't really know the game mechanics. I'm not super researched about the game, but as I understand it, you can do inter-guild trading. So the only reason I could see that any of my members could be in a different guild would be like a common alliance guild, where an alliance of guilds have, the Titan Alliance guild, where the other guilds join up so they can trade between the guilds. But other than that, my guys are not allowed to be in a different guild. They don't have time to be in a different guild, and they don't want to be in a different guild. So it's like a no issue for us.
Gotcha. And what about Dragon for the Syndicate? Your 1,200 people are going to be in lots of guilds?
Now, we have much the same policy. You can't be in multiple guilds. It's actually a concern that the reason they have that mechanic is for the whole trading thing, right? You can either set up your store in your PvP keep that you conquer, or you can buy from your guild store. So ultimately, I think the reason they added that feature is symptomatic of a problem that ultimately is going to hurt the game in the long run, which is the economy between players and the economy between communities. So either you encourage people to not be loyal to a guild and to run around and go to a bunch of different places, and therefore you destroy your community, or you artificially limit things and you destroy your crafting community and your economy. So, no, we're not going to let people answer your question specifically, but I definitely think it's a design flaw that's going to hurt Tesso down the road.
We'll see how it goes for sure. Leona, what do you think?
For us, it is okay if they join trading guilds, or if they join a guild like we have it there are some German guilds who are just for AVA. So there are several smaller guilds like our own guild, and they only join there for being big in Cyrodiil. So they can say, okay, 100 of us go there and 50 go there, because none of the guilds there is able to do this on their own. So this is also something we say you can do, but we don't want to have it like in Guild Wars 2, where normally there really were small guilds and you could join several of them, and we had the problem that some of our people decided to switch their guild while they were still in our guild. And we don't want this in Teso again. So we say trading guilds are okay, and so big guild pools for Cyrodiil are also okay, but nothing else.
Okay. Certainly, I mean, we're of the same mindset that it's a As an old EVE player, it's always a concern to have people that could be in multiple guilds. There could be, of course, spying. The guilds are account-based, so hypothetically, there might be a guild with 500 people, and it's got people that are in every single faction, and one of them can just loot the guild store or the guild bank if you have problems with that, and bring it all over to Aldmeri and stuff. That, no offense, Leona, it's also a problem too because you could do market warfare. You could have people that are in your guild on one account. You want to sell things cheaply within your guild to people and give them a really good price and stuff, but you need to at least recover some of the basics, and you want to use that mechanism. And now suddenly you can't because, again, another faction could just buy out all the cheap stuff. I don't expect a lot of those things to happen. I do see a potential use for, and this is a security thing for most guilds, there can be a lot of drama created around a guild bank, people having access to it, and a lot of stuff missing when you want to be helpful and generous. But the fact that you can create 5 guilds means that as long as there's 10 people for each of those guilds, you could have basically some of your main crafters set up. This is just a trick, but I think it's a useful one to help other guilds that are smaller and want to avoid drama. You can set up some, 4 extra guilds that are basically mostly harmless blacksmithing, mostly harmless cooking or provisioning, and you can use that for bank space, 1,000 bank spots, free, just by setting up these other guilds. So I think there are some potential uses that way, but like other people have mentioned here, we have certainly concerns about the originally intended use and what they're trying to get around with it. We'll see what happens in the actual game. That maybe it'll work out. Maybe some people will try some other guilds, and the social community will develop, and it'll be a better community for it in the long run. I'm not really sure.
I've always felt that many of these sort of design decisions that they've made in these type of games is because the developers might actually never have been part of let us call it a real guild. And that is why some of these functions are like they are. Like we saw in Guild Wars, for example. The game is called Guild Wars, but there was not that much sort of support for the guild mechanisms of the game. And sort of the same here in Elder Scrolls. There are no tabards, there are no markings. It sort of doesn't really feel like they have built the game with guilds as sort of a core feature.
Yeah, tabards would be cool. That's something that, you'd like to show your color when you go on the battlefield and show you're in this guild, and it's our guild, like, fighting you.
Yes, exactly like that. And I don't know how it's going to turn out in this game, but in Guild Wars you couldn't even see the name of the guy who was smashing your face. So, I don't know.
You will probably see the names once NDA drop.
Yeah, hopefully. Cami, did you want to talk about trading or get into the media stuff?
Trading, how important do you think it's going to be in the game? Like all the trading system. I know we already talked a bit about it, but you guys want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Which one was? Do you want
Maybe go ahead, Dragon. Go ahead, Dragon.
I think in any game, the economy type stuff is designed to be critically important. It often falls short of the expectations of the developer, but I think they put the artificial barrier in the way. Yes, you can go into PvP land, you can shop from the shops there, and a lot of people will do that, and that's great and wonderful. But it's an artificial system that's going to come and go, shops are going to rise and fall, and that's a neat mechanic, but ultimately it doesn't make for a stable economy. And so either you're going to end up like in WoW with Barons chat and everybody screaming to sell stuff, or you're going to end up with a bunch of self-sufficient islands of people who just take care of their own needs, either one of which doesn't make for a very healthy, robust economy.
Or people could use like the guild system to kind of have like a big general chat with one of the guild.
Well, and I don't really like the idea of in my PvP area, I don't want it to be a big place to go to the market. I want to have people PvP in there. I don't want to, wow, there's 50 people standing here trading. But did you see the keep wall is burning down? These are important things for sure. I've got some stuff in Twitch channel here that let me see here. There's someone saying that the handsome guy on the left is Coots, my boyfriend. So that's from CodeGen, I assume I assume that's about it. You, Ernesto, or something?
Yeah, it's one of my boys, I guess.
One of your wives, yeah. Then we've got I'm the Keep says I want to see a DAO Dark Age of Camelot housing guild house guild merchant system, something maybe out in the real world instead of in the PvP area potentially. That is another possibility. Someone, Gaza, saying that they'll be adding player houses. They could make it like Dark Age of Camelot did by having a player shop at respective housing. Others are saying that worked well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that at some point in time since Matt Fior is involved in this, of course. Someone else, Razix, though, is saying auction houses are taken away from communities coming together. Guild stores connect the community a bit more. So certainly some different opinions out there as to choices as to what to do for auction houses. And I guess
stores certainly bring them together, but I mean the challenge you get though is that if they do this feature 6 months down the road, it may be too late, right? Star Wars had wonderfully great ideas, right? They should have done Galactic Starfighter at launch. It's a neat feature now that nobody's going to play because there's so few people still playing Star Wars. Same concern with Tesso, right? You wait too long to put in great ideas from your community, it's too late. You've already lost too much of the community.
Yeah, the first impression is so important.
Yeah, no, for sure. Any comments about NDA dropping for media on yesterday there? Has anybody seen anything that's come out? I was a little busy yesterday playing some stuff that so I didn't get much chance, but is there anything that's really stood out to anybody else?
Yes. I was surprised. The report on Massively was quite bad. I didn't thought it would be that bad. And then there was a report on Buffed, and it was good. And I thought that the report on Buffed would be horrible, because for me Buffed is World of Warcraft. And everything for them is World of Warcraft. And I was surprised that they are writing really a good report about the game. And that Massively had such a bad report. I was really, really surprised.
I think the Forbes article was more about an economics point of view, and not really gameplay.
Yeah,
that was most interesting.
Yeah, go ahead, Dragon.
I thought was most interesting was that when you looked across the articles, there's a lot of them for one. I mean, there's 3 or 4 dozen that came out yesterday, which is great press. But when you start digging into them, when I was doing my little tick sheet, easily 60 to 70% of what I was scribbling down was either neutral or poor. It wasn't good, and I was expecting a lot more good press from it, so I thought that was an interesting tidbit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I also found it quite interesting that so many of the reports have been quite negative by the press. I haven't really seen that before on other MMO launches, because they've been sugarcoating quite a lot, and it's either quite healthy that they are actually quite critical about the game and not just pouring oil on a duck or whatever you say, but I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. Might be a great game. It might turn out it's not so great, but the game's a game. Gotta play them.
Yeah. I think you shouldn't give too much about the reports. You should just try to get your hands on it on one of the beta tests, because the press was really talking good stuff about Star Wars, and then there came up what came up. And everyone who played Star Wars knows that it was as good as the press said. So don't trust the press. Just play it your own and see what you think about it.
Yeah, and I know, speaking with ZeniMax the other day, that they're really looking forward to having live streams eventually here. Not eventually, soon, and that they're certainly excited to get fan sites more involved here soon. And I know we're excited to release a lot of our stuff here soon. The comments on the Twitch that Howley's saying the NDA being released for the media was maybe a bit too early. The game designers know they have a lot of bugs left, but there are 101 ways to get stuck in game right now. Now, when ZeniMax did the media circuit there the other weekend, when I spoke to them, they were saying that it was controlled and they certainly showed certain elements of the game. So I don't think they would have seen too many of the bugs. I think the game is progressing quite nicely that way. It's certainly getting better each time that hypothetically, if you're in a beta, is what I've been told. Certainly, in terms of the media, there was one other comment I had. Don't recall it now. So, in terms of questions here, the main audience questions are: Beast wants to know who let the dogs out. So, that other people are saying, like Patch Notes is saying, I think NDA dropped way too late. That. And I've heard some comments about that too. That they needed more press earlier for the game, but I'm pretty pleased. Like, this is a game I think you need to experience. I don't think any amount of press is going to dive into the game and feel it. I just got to say this. There are times that I've looked out the window because I hear lightning and I'm like, holy shit, there's a storm coming. And that's what's in the game. Like, the sounds are just... Anyways. Won't say anything more. It's an
immersive experience.
It's an immersive game. There's going to be some good things that... little excited.
Personally, so we've learned today that Rook is scared of lightning.
Exactly, yeah.
Me personally, I don't mind if the first impression isn't that good. The issue is the late impression, and I think that's what sort of games like Star Wars showed us. It was an enormously incredible experience to level up in that game and to go through the levels up to 60 and the storyline and all the excellent voice acting. It was fantastic. But then when you got to the end, there was just nothing left. There was nothing for you. You couldn't obtain new shinies and you couldn't show off how awesome your guild was, that you got like realm points or you were on a chart somewhere or a Camelot Herald type web page that actually showed your progression. You didn't even get like in-game rewards for it. So I really hope that they pull that one off here. I think World of Warcraft has showed us that you need a carrot and you need to keep the carrots coming at all times, and that's sort of what keeps the game running. If you run out of carrots, you're going to run out of players, and you need to bring the carrots quickly, not 6 months after, but 1 month, 2 months, 3 months after, as latest.
It's going to be interesting to see how ZeniMax is adding new content, how often, and see if there's going to be often update, because that's definitely something that keeps the player looking forward for something to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A couple more questions from the Twitch before we wrap this up. Kip's asking, what are going to be the long-term objectives for PvP guilds? The only guild aspect is to claim a keep, and even those you can't keep because of the 24/7 setting and relatively weak defenses even when you build a keep up. He's saying that it's just unrealistic. So maybe not a question, more of a comment, I guess. But and just Howley's asking, of the 4 guilds here, what faction do they believe they will play as? For Mostly Harmless, Daggerfall Covenant, we've chosen that because of the poll results from things like Tesso Census and from polls on Tamriel Foundry that suggest that it's the least populated, the oldest audience, and just for maturity and stuff that we believe it might come with that. And we don't want to be stuck in queues the way we were waiting for 5 hours in Guild Wars 2 and stuff like that. Ernesto, which guild are you guys, which alliance are you guys going for? Which faction?
Daggerfall Covenant seems the most likely. We haven't finalized it yet, but one of our news editors made some funny news post making fun out of the other 2 alliances, so I guess we're gonna sort of have to roll with that.
I think I actually saw that on your homepage. And why are you guys choosing that faction?
Oh, because he made that news article.
Nice. Okay.
So we didn't want to be the elf stuff, but now we realize that pre-ordering you could pick whatever race you want. So now that's not really an issue anymore.
It changed the game.
Yeah, we did the same and looked at the censuses just like you guys, and we reason in pretty much exactly the same way.
Okay, in terms of queue times and yeah.
Yes.
And Leona, you guys are Aldmeri, is that correct?
Yes, we are what Ernesto called so lovely elf stuff. we had a vote in our forums, and it was pretty close between Ebenhard Pact and Altmeri Dominion, and it was, I think, one vote more for Altmeri Dominion, so we go with Altmeri Dominion. But we already said that also a Nord or an Orc can join us if they are aware of the fact that they will not be able to play with us that much. And now with the pre-order bonus, they can play whatever they want with us. They should be in the Altmeri Dominion, but if they decide to be in the Ebenhard Pact and want to play with us, they can do so, because we have some people who are more comfort with Nords than with elves, and this is why we decided it this way.
Nice. Okay. And for Dragon, what faction has the Syndicate chosen, or how will you choose a faction?
Yeah, we're still debating it. I think we got obviously 2 months until launch, so I think we'll see how things shape up over them. And you actually made good points to me privately about Daggerfall Covenant. We had a chat about that the other week, and I think those are all good factors that play into our target audience as well. But we'll wait until a bit closer to the end. And expanding upon the comment you got off the Twitch feed there about what is the end game for PvP, that's an excellent observation. But there's the whole other aspect, which is the end game for everybody else. PvP, while it's what I do just about every day, it's not what most players do every day. It's still a minority faction in the game, and they haven't done a really good job of telling the majority faction what are they going to do at the end of the game. Like Ernesto was talking about, Star Wars was excellent leveling up. You got to the end, you ran into a wall. They've said some things, but not a whole lot. And so is there a wall out there for the non-PvPers that maybe has some of them scared too? I don't know. I think they can do a better job communicating on that.
That's a good point. That I think it was. Oh, I got to scroll up here. This Twitch is going a bit fast. But Ravix, earlier said that addressed to Cami, Zoss has stated that there will be content updated every 4 to 6 weeks. So, and I believe they can keep to schedule pretty similar to that. So we'll see. Certainly for maybe what you're speaking to, Dragon 2, that PvE content. I think that's most of the comments there. We're going to begin the shoutouts here. You can start the shoutouts in the Twitch channel while Cami tells you about a very cool contest that's coming up.
Yeah,
starting today, actually.
Yeah, last week's winner is putting up a new contest now for you guys. So it's really simple. It's Dragon, by the way. So Dragon's putting a new contest. So now here's what the contest is about. It's a fan fiction contest. So any fan is welcome to submit their own original piece of fan fiction. Here are the rules. We'll post them later in the YouTube comments. So if you don't have a pencil, don't worry. So the writing must be set in Elder Scroll Online universe. Well, Elder Scroll, obviously not online, universe. It's a minimum of 2,500 words and a maximum of 6,000. Emails to the entries to Ader, the guild leader of Dragon, at nocturnaldemise@gmail.com. Like I said, it's going to be in the comment if you didn't have the time to note it. Entries should include a graphic signature of 280 width by 70 height. And what's the price? Well, you get your character immortalized in an awesome piece of art. How amazing is that? So the contest begins today, February 8th, and it's going to end on February 28th at midnight. So good luck, everyone.
Yeah, it should be really good. Any final comments from, we'll start with Ernesto. Any final things you want to say before we wrap things up?
No, not really. It's nice seeing your faces.
Yeah, it's great. We chatted so much back in Guild Wars 2. It's really good to see you here. Sorry to hear you're going on a European server. Maybe we'll join you there sometime. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Dragon?
No, this has been great. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you here. Leona?
Yes, I'd like to say something. First of all, I would like to thank everyone that already participated in the TESO census, especially those who set up their guilds there. I want to thank everybody that helps me promoting the census, especially a German fan page called ESO Schatzsucher. They really support us by having a link to the census on their side. Thanks for this. We hope this whole thing can get even bigger. We are a bit before 2,000 entries, so please come over and enter your character. Don't be afraid. It's everything okay there. Cinemax already mentioned us in the Tamriel Chronicle. We want to add some more features to it, like for registered members, you should be able to add different characters at a specific point, and you will be able to link them to the guilds you are in if they are registered at the census. So yeah, come over and add your stuff.
Awesome. And Cami? Any final words?
No, I don't have any final words. Sorry.
You should say something in French, at least.
All right, well, can't wait for the game lounge. Will be fun.
Great. You can start your shoutouts on the Twitch channel now, and we'll do the best we can with those that were mailed to us as well. Feel free to add more detail, and we'll read it as best we can. The mailed shoutouts, we got a lot of shoutouts on the YouTube videos. Some people even asked if it was okay. Of course it's okay. Shout out for your guild. This is a really interesting community. We're really happy to be a part of it. Elderblade is an AD guild with a great website and a lot of enthusiasm. They've been on all the YouTube videos. They're giving a shout out for their guild. It might be on a future show. Unreal Aussies, a great Oceanic guild that does a lot of PvE and some PvP. They mailed us to let us know that they have chosen their faction and they're going to be choosing Daggerfall Covenant at launch. Dutch Guild Solution, I met their leader the other day. A great guy, nice, small, tight guild. That good group of people and stuff. Shout outs in the channel. We've got Ravizek saying Tesso Census was great. Orinara saying LLTS, which I did not know means long live the Syndicate. That the other people are possibly in the beta saying some things that I'm not going to read. And Vixen co-hosting next show, February 22nd, says love for Mostly Harmless, and some more stuff that I can't read. And to the 75, almost 100 viewers here, we just really appreciate you tuning in. I didn't expect so many for this time of day, but really nice to meet some of the European guilds. Of course, they're going to be, a lot of them are going to be on the European servers. Some EU guilds will be on North American servers, depending on what they want to choose and stuff. So it's going to be an interesting game. We'll see what happens in the end. In terms of the next contest, people that have given a shout out to their guild in Twitch or the shout outs on the YouTube channel. And that's the easiest one, of course, for us to score. Dragon last week gave a lot of shout outs for their guild and their contest coming up. Anyone can win, even guilds that are just watching the show. Just give the most shout outs to your guild or comments on the YouTube video and declare your support for them. Prize is usually a game, but more importantly, it's a little PR for your guild. That's what most people are looking for. Certainly look at Dragon and their FanFiction contest. And this is Rook with Mostly Harmless, and we'll see you out on the battlefield.